Hello.
Hello, it's Karen Scanlan and Beth Hart here. We're here early, so we will just wait until our brother gets here and stop the video and put ourselves on mute.
Okay, sounds good. Hi,
Yeah, and
Pavel. Nice to meet you.
You
nice to
also.
meet you. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Hello.
Oh, Bri, you're mute. You're still mute. Yeah, go up in the top right-hand corner. Oh,
Hello. There we go.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Wow, I know those two people. They look great.
Hi,
who's your
Brian.
assistant? Pavel, who's your assistant?
Yeah.
It's my dog Dora. She will be assisting us with the interview.
That's great.
Because she needs attention all the time.
Yes, I see that. That used to be the dog they used in Budweiser commercials. It's a bull terrier, right?
Yeah, I think
Bull
so.
terrier. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very pleasant dogs, I understand.
Oh, they are. They are. They're super cozy dogs.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I want to thank you for inviting me to this and thank the Golden Giraffe Film Festival. I've been very impressed with everything that's happened so far with it. And I'm really excited about this.
I'm really happy to hear that. Should we start with questions?
Yes, why not?
Perfect. Well, my first question was about details in terms of characters and how you used a lot of brand names in order to describe someone. And I was wondering, do you think it is crucial for describing a character with such details?
Well, the details aren't to promote products or anything like that, but I thought that with Dr. Stoddard, the Vicuna coat that he wore, and then later a Briani three-piece suit, was to convey status, wealth, arrogance, and rigid oversight of the ward.
Uh-huh.
And I also had Champagne had a Black Jesus bag because she's a Catholic, and a lot of Black people in America see Jesus as a Black figure, not a white figure, like the Europeanized version. So I put that in there too.
I like that. I like that a lot. One of my favorite scenes was when Dr. Stoddard was trying either Christian Dior or Ray-Ban glasses.
Yeah, he was posing them before
Yeah.
the
That's like
interview.
super evil, especially with everything that's going on around him, and he's just like, I wonder which glasses would be the best fit for today.
For a yeah, it's for the arbitration hearing for Wanda's certification in the ward. She's a an involuntary patient, even though she tried to commit suicide. She wants to be out and turn him into the authorities for the date rape drug. I also had a scene in which Dr. Stoddard was walking with wingtip shoes towards Ms. Marvell in an encounter, and he was clip-clopping on the linoleum floor, and she was sliding gracefully over moccasins, Indian moccasins.
That is very. I always admire such approach to details. I feel like it gives a way, like a very, like I can see the exact person because of the amount of details you're providing. Like I can actually see who this person is.
Right.
Is...
Well, Wanda, I mean, Ms. Marvell and Dr. Stoddard had their encounter, and also Wanda's dressed in a hospital robe, you know, throughout the thing. And Mr. Long, when he came to visit with Mrs. Long, he was wearing a Brooks Brothers suit as well. So I thought those details were important.
Well, they are. Indeed they are. All right. I also wanted to ask you about dialogues, because they are very well. First of all, I think they're extremely modern, and it's full of profanity, but it also comes very naturally. What exactly did you do to achieve such style in terms of dialogues?
Well, I wrote a book called We Have Our Difference in Common, and I wrote over 300 different one-liners and witticisms. I got that from my dad, the idiomatic expressions. My father was a chemistry major at Brown University, but he was even better at turning a phrase. He did most of the talking and I did most of the listening growing up, so some of it rubbed off, and I credit him for that. My dad never dropped an F-bomb in his life, even on the golf course. But his favorite expletives were shit and God damn it all, Brian. It was his favorite prayer, even though he was an atheist.
That is hilarious.
But the quick comebacks between characters I fashioned after Double Indemnity with Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray. They had great byplays of witticisms and topping the other. And fashioned my quips with Wanda and Dr. Stoddard and Wanda and Dan as being a lot of witticisms and things like that. I was told it was a highly stylized approach to dialogue. And at the UCLA Extension, where I learned about screenwriting, I was on scholarship there. They called it ping pong dialogue. And I had a scene in which Wanda and Dan are playing ping pong and they're saying some of their witticisms back and forth to one another. I thought it was a kind of an inside hint to people that study film, that they've heard of ping pong dialogue.
Interesting, very interesting. I like the ping pong. That makes a lot of sense because it jumps back and forth right away. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Ping
double
pong.
takes and things like that. I fashioned a hat for my. I've been so clean and sober for over 40 years. I thought I need a tagline to go with this, so I fashioned this one. I couldn't stop, so I quit. And I gave that quip to Wanda when she was talking to Dr. Stoddard when they first met.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that line.
So that's how it came about, really.
Okay, very interesting. There are a number of flashbacks in the story. Like we see a lot of a couple of scenes of Wanda's upbringing, like when she was like wait, hold on. Let me let me paraphrase it correctly. So we saw a lot of flashbacks with Wanda, and that kind of made a bigger picture about her. And I was wondering, when you write a script, do you come up with flashbacks while you're doing it, or you already had them before you started writing the entire
I
story?
rearranged the order of the script. It had been in chronological order at first, but people thought I needed to kickstart the script quicker. So I started with Wanda's suicide attempt and then did flashbacks of her and as well as Ms. Marvell and Dr. Stoddard at different points in the script. So there was quite a few flashbacks, but it's kind of a character-driven story more than a plot-driven story. And so I thought they were important to include.
So so the audience can actually get more about Wanda. Yeah, that actually makes
Right.
sense. And I like that it starts with a crucial scene, like like attempting suicide is actually like right away, like boom, it starts heavy. Like there's no introduction, there is no like slow like getting ready for the story. It actually gets to the point right away.
No, the inciting incident usually happens around page 12 or 13, but I kick-started my story off with it. And I had Wanda smoking a cigarette while her wrists were slit and the blood splattered onto her face every time she raised her hand to take another drag off the cigarette.
You said you were sober for 40 years?
Yeah, 40, clean and sober. I was
That's
22 when I got.
outstanding.
Yeah, I was never even a close excuse for a social drinker. And so I took drugs too and kind of squandered my college education, but got sober and clean at my senior year, and I made the dean's list twice when I was clean and sober.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You could actually inspire a lot of people. I like that.
I hope so. Yeah.
Uh I I kind of didn't get what was the end of the story with the cop that worked with the doctor?
Yeah. You asked about that. Well, Linda and Wanda didn't know that the cop was in cahoots with Stoddard, so they never turned him in. But that's
Oh, I see.
yeah,
That
he was.
actually, yeah. Yeah, you see, well, yeah, all right. Now it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but he was a cop that was the ringleader actually of the drug ring,
Uh-huh.
of the aphrodisiac date rape drug.
I
And
see. So it wasn't like I thought it was like intentional to show it to show that the system always like covers like cops or whoever is a part of the corruption system. That I thought that was the point of that. That, like we never
yeah,
see the
that's why he wasn't rounded up among the cops. They didn't know either, I guess. So
yeah, and we pretty much don't even know like what the person looks like for almost the entire story, although that person is the part of the story as well.
right.
Okay, I see. Could you tell me other not like other but like references that you like you had to get inspired for this story besides
Well,
Joan of Arc?
there's the Landersman Petrus Short Act is a California code for people that want to get out. They have a chance to a hearing, and so I included that. And Wanda's representative to that kept referring to her as the patient, like objectifying her. And Dr. Stoddard came in and said Wanda has an aversion to DSM diagnosis, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, Part 5. And so he was saying she has an aversion to DSM diagnosis, and Wanda says yes. And he goes, Wanda has an aversion to taking medicine. She goes, yes. And he goes, Wanda needs to be in the hospital for the duration of her stay in a controlled environment. She goes, absolutely false. And just tees off on him. And the arbiter of the hearing says, the patient will remain for the remainder of her stay at hospitable hospital. And Wanda says, objection, like in a court,
Yeah.
to a verdict.
Okay, cool. Uh did you study any conspiracy theories while you were writing the script?
Not that relate directly to mine, but there is a conspiracy theory about the HIV/AIDS virus that in 1987, Peter Duesberg, who is a Cal Berkeley epidemiologist, wrote a paper and then a book called Inventing the AIDS Virus. And so according to Duesberg, the drug amyl nitrate, which was used by homosexual men, is what gave them those black blotches on their skins before it became a big story. And Duesberg said that that was the drug that was causing the immunity codes that were being triggered by HIV. And he said that the cancer throwaway drug AZT, which was used for cancer, was reintroduced before peer review came into play with the HIV/AIDS virus. And that's what people were getting sick with and dying. And so when AZT was discontinued as an HIV antidote, then the deaths also left rather than being herd immunity. He's gotten a lot of blowback, but I remember that conspiracy theory. It didn't have anything to do with my conspiracy at hospitable hospital though.
No. I was just curious because I mean we're all here, especially from like from like different time or periods of time, we hear all kinds of conspiracy theories. And Wanda, not like exactly she's like seeking for a conspiracy theory, but it definitely has a certain vibe of a like
Well, it is a conspiracy, to promote the date rape drug.
yeah.
I thought that, she was like on her own, kind of on an island, so to speak, and
Yeah.
trying to convert the other patients, which she did eventually.
yeah, like fighting against like a single person against the crowd, pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Um, do you think the modern pharmacy companies reach such high level of technological like development, and because of like uh financial desire that pharmaceutical companies have, they're more likely to hurt people rather than cure people?
Well, I don't think that's intentionally done, but I think that a lot of the drugs that are used on patients are unnecessary. And so there's like an ideological clash between Ms. Marvell, who's a holistic psychologist, and Dr. Stoddard, who's a psychiatrist at the top of the food chain in mental health. I think that the reverse should be in play, because the psychologists are the people that deal with the actual issues that produce the symptoms that are addressed by drugs that sometimes bludgeon them rather than ameliorate them.
I see. I see. It's just like it was actually at the time while I was reading your script, I met up with a few friends of mine, and they're doctors, and they have a theory that the more we cure, the more progressive medicine gets, the worse health conditions come to be.
That's part of it. It's also part of adopting identities. Like in an existential argument, existence precedes essence, but it's just the opposite in the psychiatry issue, where they adopt these terms, bipolar, attention deficit disorder, and everything, and people embrace debilitating identities, and I think it feeds itself in a way and makes them worse off than if they just dealt with the issues that were causing these symptoms to arise.
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. If if society would start treating the core, like the foundation of the problem, we wouldn't have the problem, but it goes up the other way around. It usually goes the other way around.
Right. It would be the opposite anyway, or at least lessened, I think.
Yeah.
Because I never identify myself as bipolar. That's the one I do with my psychiatrist, because he's writing disability evaluations for me. I've been on disability for over 20 years. And so I go along with it that way, but he doesn't talk in DSM nomenclature with me. And I really appreciate that.
That's very interesting. I like your like the way you like you have some amazing ideas, to be honest. It's I like having conversation with you.
Thank you.
Could you tell, do you have any other plans to write any scripts in the future? Like,
I have something now. It's a short, and I'm going to enter it into the contest next month, but it's called Blood of Christ. Can you see that?
yeah, I can see that. I love that.
It's about a Catholic father who tries to indoctrinate his atheist son into the world of drinking, but feuds develop over what constitutes drug and drug abuse. I'm trying to write a script that brings alcohol and identifies it as a drug instead of something separate from illicit drugs. And I'm working on that right now.
That is that is a very that is a very exciting topic, because I always believe that alcohol hurts as much as any other drugs, and I never understood why it does not have the same justification as drugs.
Right. I know it's a very powerful drug. In fact, I can attest to that from my own experience.
It is a very powerful
Yeah,
drug.
underestimated. You mentioned that just like you deals with a lot of parent kid relationships and
Yeah.
how they know better. You think parents will start trusting their kids and vice versa. I wrote a quip that I gave to Wanda when her parents were at they visited her, and she said, "Dad got mad when we lied to him. No, Dad got mad then we lied to him." I think that if parents don't scare their children, they'd be less apt to lie to them.
It's so instead of scaring them, parents feel
Yeah,
like they should
right. I
like.
think a lot of children are fearful and they become liars as adults because they're intimidated by parents sometimes.
Do you think it's better to rather to scare than to lie, or you?
No, I think that they should be less fearful of their parents and they'd be more inclined to be sincere and frank, especially if the penalties weren't so great for lying. I think it feeds itself as well.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, Brian, I feel like we're out of questions. You
Okay.
pretty much covered everything. Would you like to talk about anything else?
Yes, I have one thing I wanted to talk about was the poster that I promoted that also won an award with Golden Giraffe. It started out as a very crude drawing,
Uh-huh.
and after about 1,000 passes in Photoshop, got perfected to this, and I entered it in as this, just like
Mhm.
you. Screenplay by Brian Spellman. Took about 1,000 passes in Photoshop, and some people said it looked like a Picasso or something.
It does look like a 1930 abstract painting indeed.
Yeah, or somebody else described the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. They thought it.
Oh yeah, I can actually see the similarities. Yes,
Yeah, I'm in
there
a
is a
good
similarity.
company.
I like that. Are you planning to sell merch like the
I
t-shirt?
would, I do, yeah, I have T-shirts on Uber prints, but I don't have a storefront for them, unfortunately. But I sell books and cartoons and things like that as well. And I would love to sell my logo
Mhm.
to a software company or a bank or an insurance company for the right price. It would really be a big feather in my cap. I would love to do that.
That would be really cool.
You want to unmute my sisters so they can say something?
Oh yeah, they actually mute themselves.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
are.
We did. We didn't want to
Hi.
interrupt.
No,
No.
that's great.
That was a fascinating conversation. Between the two of you, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Between his take and your interpretation, it was great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and it's good to hear actually from the author of the screenplay, sort of synthesizing some of the scenes and the reasons behind, the concepts, and it's really helped me.
Gives it perspective.
It so did, and I'm like, this has to be a movie. When is it going to be a movie?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Yeah, I'm getting exposure right now. I'm gonna have a copy of this sent to me that I'll use to promote my film or my screenplay. I'd love it to be made into a film. I think there's a lot of issues with psychiatry aside from the malpractice, and I was hoping to bring a patient's perspective. I've been a patient about 12 to 15 times, and I'm very familiar with the setting of the screenplay, just like you, and did a lot of research on it. So I'm pulling for it, and I know you two are pulling for me. You've been in my corner all along. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, both of you.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay,
Yeah, our pleasure. We're in your corner, Bri.
you bet. Thanks, Pavel.
Thank you, and I enjoyed it a lot. It's amazing to see how relatives support each other. That's
These
awesome.
are the two best sisters in the world.
Now that's true.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. I wish the very best of luck to you. You deserve it like no one else.
Okay, hey, thank you so much. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Take care.
All
Bye
right,
now.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.